Good afternoon, I'm Tyler Danberg. Ohio State men's hoops gears up to host Wisconsin Tuesday night at 8:30. Hear the Jake Diebler Show up next on The Fan. Milan Cortina Olympics women's hockey semifinal. USA leads Sweden 4-0 in the second period, looking to clinch a spot in the gold medal game. Cleveland native Layla Edwards scored the most recent goal, her second of the tournament, while Ohio State alum Hannah Bilka has notched an assist. OSU is the only school to be represented by a player on each of the 4 semifinal teams. NFL, ESPN's Adam Schefter reported the Dolphins are releasing 8-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Tyreek Hill, saving $22.8 million against the salary cap. The 31-year-old Hill is recovering from a dislocated knee and torn ACL suffered last season. This update sponsored by the Waterworks and Header Plumbing, Drain, Heating, and Cooling, together to serve you better. Scheduled today at thewaterworks.com. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
From Learfield, this is the Jake Diebler Show, presented by Roosters, a fun casual joint, and brought to you statewide by Encova Insurance and by the American Dairy Association Mideast on the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics. Now, along with Coach Jake Diebler and former Ohio State captain Ron Stokes, here's the voice of the Buckeyes, Paul Keels.
And thanks for joining us today as Ohio State gets ready for a quick turnaround following Saturday's game against Virginia, and we'll be at home tomorrow evening hosting the Wisconsin Badgers. Jake, thanks as always for your time. Now that you've had a chance to rewatch the Virginia game a little bit, I know that usually right after the game you make the comments you make about it, but now that you've summarized it a little more, what are some of your additional feelings about that game?
Yeah, well, let's start with, I think the worst part, and that was, we didn't do what we needed to do offensively down the stretch. And that's on us. I think certainly got to give Virginia credit. They're a really good team, and I think their plan to, wear us down with their press, it bothered us kind of over time, and we really felt that down the stretch. However, there were some things that we can control that we really have done at a pretty good level for, the last few weeks, that we weren't as good. Execution, little details, things that we've been good at, especially in the game recently, that we weren't as good. That's on us. We watched that. We got to get that better. But that being said, on the other side, I thought our defense was better. It's an area that we've had to continue to work really hard to improve in. And aside from a stretch in the second half where I think they might have had two offensive rebounds in like 3 possessions or something that they converted on when they were cut the lead, we rebounded against what is one of the better, offensive rebounding teams in the country. We rebounded better, which was good because obviously that's been a point of emphasis too. So, yeah, disappointed in the result, but we put ourselves in position with improved defense and good offense really up until the last 9-10 minutes.
Coach, when you look at the stretch that you're talking about, the last 2-3 minutes, not having John Mobley Jr., he's a capable and experienced young man in his second year. How difficult was it to make that adjustment and being able to be efficient down the stretch when the opposition knows that you don't have him in the lineup?
Well, he's a guy that we've used to play make at times in the game, certainly leaned on him and Bruce. We've, gone to Devin at times in the game to get to the free throw line or score inside. So, I think what it allowed Virginia to do was just commit 2 guys to Bruce and make him a passer. But even though we knew that and ran some things to adjust against that, that's where I think in that moment your execution has to be just its absolute best. And if it's little things like we didn't screen well enough or our timing was maybe just a little bit off, I don't think we handled that as well as we have in the past. Certainly missing one of your primary playmakers can affect that. However, you gotta step up. You gotta step up and make those plays in those moments. And the reality is, down the stretch, in the last 6-7 minutes, we had too many turnovers. In a game that's going back and forth, you got to get a shot up. You got to get to the free throw line, and we weren't able to do that because we had some costly turnovers.
What were some of the things that went into the start that you saw that went well?
Well, I think our guys came in. We had a great plan. They executed the plan. We played. We were in the moment. Like all that stuff you want this time of year. It's just such a great time for the year. It's really the best time of year now and heading into next month in college basketball, life of a college basketball player or coach. So I thought our guys embraced all of that. I thought our guys embraced having to collectively raise our level because we were missing an important piece, and the approach, the prep, everything was I was really impressed with the way we approached and prepped for the game. So that's got to continue, obviously. And then we gotta sustain that level of success and kind of excellence we were playing with on both sides of the ball for the whole game.
I mentioned that during the broadcast with Paul. That's a scouting turnover. And when I know as a coach, you have got to be pleased when you're instructing your team and they go out there and do it. But just explain to our audience what that means in terms of when you prepare and you take away option 1 and 2 and what that does to the opposition.
Well, I think when you're going into it, you're trying to find certainly what's your defensive foundation within what you do and work on every day that you can create challenges for the opposing's offense. Then on the flip side, you see trends, you see tendencies, and you're saying, okay, what adjustments can we make to really take them out or turn them over, in this case, to lead and give us a chance to go out and run the floor. And it's important that, in order to execute things like that, especially with quick turnarounds, you got to be, like, your prep has to be so good. And you got to have a connected team. We have those. And I thought we were able to do some things that forced them to turn the ball over, especially early on, and that allowed us to get out and get in an open court and do some things versus having to take the ball out of the net and get pressed the whole game. But I thought our guys did a great job. We were able to find some things that we were, we felt confident in. It's what we try to do every game is, where can you steal some possessions with some adjustments?
This is kind of what you talked about a little bit right from the get-go, but Brandon in New Philadelphia with a question in our Hugon Home Mortgage inbox list of questions, citing that the team is so close against top teams. Is there one single thing that keeps from getting over the hump in some of those games?
I think, listen, this is kind of life in the Big Ten and playing a really hard schedule. You're going to find yourself in these situations over and over and over again. What you can control is how you execute, and what you can control is, are we putting our guys, are we creating an advantage for them with that execution, right? And it's both sides. Like there's obviously the execution offensively, and then there's the execution defensively. I think we've shown great improvement. We didn't show that improvement last game, which is disappointing. But we got some guys who are getting more confident at end of game, guys who are I think raising their level for the moment, because ultimately these games oftentimes come down to one team making and one team missing, and you want to make the other team's job offensively extremely difficult with being connected and tough defensively. You don't want to give up extra possessions off rebounds or silly fouls, right? That stuff you can control. And then on the other side, your connection's so important because of the timing of actions. Like we're not built, I think, to just be a straight ISO ball team where guys can like go get their own and teams run guys at them. They're playing in crowds. Like we gotta execute with some screenings and screening actions and get some movement to create some advantage. When we do that, it's been really good for us. So some of that I think we've relied on John to play a factor, whether it's coming off screens or sometimes screening because people don't want to leave them. That creates space for other guys out there, missing that. And I think the way the game unfolded for some of our guys who just, they weren't quite their best, that allowed Virginia to really key on Bruce, who was playing at a really high level, and kind of take him out down the stretch.
Coach, once you found out that you were not going to have the services of John Mobley Jr., what were some of the things that you had in terms of a discussion with Tayson Chapman to help him prepare for that moment as a starter?
Yeah, well, I told him, hey, you've earned this, and we got great confidence in you. Like, you gotta, your responsibility out there, right, just got bigger.
Yeah.
But I also told him, like, just keep doing what you're doing, keep raising your level, keep finding possessions defensively where you're getting better, getting more connected. I said for him, he and I talk about a big challenge is communication. He's shown improvement in that. And then offensively, he's been playing in a rhythm where it's just, hey, like, keep doing what you're doing. Be aggressive. And I thought he was, I thought he got a little fatigued in that game, which he lost some aggressiveness there. He's got to stay aggressive for us. It's probably, if I had to guess, the most minutes he's ever played in a college game, and a game where you're being hounded, the full court when you bring the ball up. So I thought, listen, and I thought he stepped up. I know it wasn't his best scoring output in the last 5 games, but I think he showed some good things, and we got great confidence in him. But that's what I wanted to make sure he knew going into the game, is that, I believe in him.
If you have a question for Coach Diebler, you can always submit them to our Union Home Mortgage inbox at OhioStateBuckeyes.com and click on Coach's Show inbox, Union Home Mortgage. Learn about their 1% down payment program at UHM.com, NMLS number 2229. More of today's show presented by Roosters coming up on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
When it comes to your cancer diagnosis, the choice for your care is clear.
And when you choose the James at Ohio State,
you're opting for care from a highly specialized team dedicated to treating one type of cancer, yours.
A team that studies the unique makeup of your disease to develop a personalized treatment plan.
You're choosing our region's only comprehensive cancer center designated by the National Cancer Institute.
For your cancer care, the choice is clear. The James at Ohio State.
Hey, Ohio State fans! Next time that snack craving hits, Burger King has you covered with the O-Fry-O bundle. You get a medium fry, 8-piece chicken fries, 8-piece mozzarella fries, and an 8-piece chicken nuggets, all for just $10. It's perfect snack fuel for one, wherever and whenever you're cheering on the scarlet and gray. At BK, have it your way. You rule! Limited time only at participating Ohio area restaurants. BK is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Tax extra.
If you are a fighter, Modelo is your reward. So listen close. You stick to your coast at all costs. You never let traffic stop your drive. You aren't just a dreamer, you're a doer. You power through all of life's hills and valleys without hesitation. You're not looking to be discovered. You've already found your place. You are a fighter, and Modelo is your reward. You've earned every last drop of this rich golden lager, so raise it up high. Modelo, the mark of a fighter. Drink responsibly. Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Modern Office Methods, your authorized RICO dealer, can help your business optimize your print production with a competitive advantage. Our digital printing options will expand the type of paper and substrates from what your business can print on today. Add variable data capability, which allows for personalization of catalogs and mailers, and the ability for short-run label printing, which allows your business to print high volumes of custom labels quickly and on demand. Want to learn more? Start with a print assessment at momnet.com. Why risk it? You can count on Mom.
Running around is a requirement on the court, but it shouldn't be the norm for grocery shopping. Get everything in one place at Giant Eagle, with produce delivered daily, meat and seafood expertly cut by our team, and bread and desserts baked in store. Fresh is our thing. With My Perks rewards, everyday low prices, and weekly deals, saving is simple. Shop at Giant Eagle, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. For freshness, quality, and savings in one stop, Giant Eagle, because it matters.
Life is more fun with a pal. So is pizza. So check out Donato's $5 Pizza Pals menu. Order any large pizza and add on your choice of a sub, salad, wings, a 10-inch pizza, and more for just $5 each. Order your favorite $5 Pizza Pals from Donatos.com today. More toppings, more flavor, more fun. Donatos. Gotta love more.
Hear every Buckeye game every year. The Fan. You're listening to the Jake Diebler Show, presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network. Presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back to our show with Ohio State head coach Jake Diebler. Time for our elk and elk injury report. The obvious concern is about John Mobley. I don't know if there's any much more you can tell us. You mentioned Saturday before the game, Jake. It's that he is expected back before the regular season ends, but any more that you can enlighten us in about that?
Yeah, we're really confident in that. Okay. As far as exactly when that is, we don't know yet, but I think everything's moving according to plan. He's working really hard to get back out there as fast as he can. But as far as an exact date, we don't have that part yet.
Gotcha. Our injury report brought to you by Elk & Elk Injury Lawyers, dedicated to every client every day. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. And you talked about it in our last segment, and it was easy to notice as the game went on. Despite all of the attention he got, it still was amazing to see Bruce Thornton play the way he did Saturday.
Well, this time of year, two things. This time of year, and when you're down an important piece, you need your best players to, and it's not just one, right? You need your best players, plural, to step up, and he did. I mean, what he did was really impressive. Just an absolute warrior. People don't know this. I mean, he was under the weather. I mean, just like, but he prepares for this. Like that's what I think people don't understand about Bruce. He's talented. I've said this. Like sometimes I think we forget how talented he is because we talk about his work ethic, but his commitment to preparing his mind and body to be its best every day it's really the best I've ever been around. It's really impressive. Now, he's an older guy, so he's learned how to do it and the benefit of it, and I think it's a great example for some of our younger players to learn the value of that. But that's what's truly special. Like he commits so much time and energy to just being ready the next day, and we need him to play at a really high level here down the stretch, and he certainly did against Virginia.
Coach, when you look at one of your other players that you're expecting a lot from, Devin Royal, he had a stretch where he had almost 15 games in a row of double figures, but here in the last 7, he's had 3 games, including the last one against Virginia, and not having his very best. He's changed positions, and clearly there's more expected of him this year. What are some of the things that's gone into his struggles here? Even though he had solid games here, Michigan, USC, but 3 games of single digits. So what's going into that? What can you do to help him get through it where he can be a little bit more consistent scoring-wise?
Yeah, a lot of film, so he can see and recognize, I think, things better on the fly. He's getting caught in crowds. People are running multiple defenders at him. And, he's got to read those situations better. Obviously, didn't play his best against Virginia. We know what he's capable of. And was really good against USC. I thought really good. I also think one of the games where it wasn't his most productive scoring output that I thought he played extremely well was Maryland. 4 assists. I thought the poise he played with in traffic that game was really impressive. And if teams are going to commit to him a lot when he drives, it may be a game where he doesn't get 13, 14, 15 points. But if he reads the game in those situations like he did against Maryland, we're a much better team. And so Virginia, he missed a couple shots. We know he makes, really any other game. I think he's got to keep working inside out. Right, like keep establishing himself early on the interior, work his way out. If he's got time and space on those threes, he's got to shoot them. He's capable of making them. I think it's just a matter of time before he starts, getting that kind of consistency back, which he showed for majority of the season from 3. But what we don't want is settled plays where we're early in the clock settling for contested jump shots. And I think that's something he and I are talking about, and he knows. And, I think he knows how important he is for our team, especially on the offensive side. But he'll respond. He does. He's a tough kid. We got great confidence in him, and I think he'll respond in a big way for us.
In my role as a point guard, and I've seen other point guards do this, when you have a guy that's struggling a little bit, sometimes you try to go to him and get him going. As a coach, are there times where you say, wow, I need Devin to get involved, or any other player where you'll say, I'm going to call their number to make sure they get a look to try to get them in the game?
Tried to do that multiple times against Virginia. We called drew up plays specifically for him to try to get his offense going, try to see one get through. We came out, he came out aggressive to start the second half to try to get that going. He just, he missed some shots he makes most of the time. So I think in those moments, and this is part of being an older player, when maybe it's not your night, that's where the other stuff has to be really high level. Defensive execution, rebounding, go get an offensive rebound. Go get to the free throw line, but taking care of the ball. Like those are the things that, I think he's got to do at a high level. Hopefully we're not in a game where he doesn't have it going great anymore, because we certainly need him to.
Yeah.
But next time he is, I think he'll be prepared to handle it really well. And again, his scoring's really important, but I still go back to that Maryland game where I thought was a really impressive performance from him, even though he didn't, I can't remember exactly how many points he ended up with, but it wasn't double figures, and he played at a high level that game, like an extremely high level, which was great to see, because it showed what he's capable of, maybe where he's not scoring at the level we know he can.
Sam in Cleveland with our next Union Home Mortgage Inbox question, asking about Virginia's press. How much effect do you feel that it had on wearing the team down during the course of the game? Yeah,
I think it did, and it was part of their game plan, especially I think when they saw John was out, was they doubled down on it. They said, we got to do it even more. So I think the attrition throughout the course of the game was impactful. But the other part that was impactful, it forced us into a timeout that we didn't have to challenge a play down the stretch. We didn't need to use that timeout. We had a guy open. We just, we kind of didn't handle that situation great. But, we did call timeout instead of turn it over, which is good. But that's part of what the press did too, I think, and it put us in it put us at times in a shorter clock situation in the half court. Took us out of running some of maybe our longer actions, because by the time we got it across, and they were limiting Bruce's touches and things. So, we knew it was coming. I think they did it even more than what maybe they have at times, and were even more aggressive than they've been at times this year because of the circumstances of the game. But I thought we handled it. Really didn't turn us over. It was just, kind of possession after possession and how it impacted us down the stretch.
So your role as a coach to adjust to what the opposition will do, and was that one of the reasons why you had Christoph Tilley bringing it up at times? We
did. We went to that early to try to give some relief, and then their adjustment, which they hadn't really done a whole lot, was pressure him too. So then we did another adjustment, was we ball screened it, right? So there were kind of adjustments to the adjustments to the adjustments existing throughout the course of the game to to help us. I think our team really executed well against it. But it was certainly played a role in I think the fatigue factor down the stretch.
We'll talk more with Coach Diebler when we continue with our weekly show presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at SafeLight.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
SafeLight repair, SafeLight replace.
Ready? It doesn't matter if you're playing hard or working hard. Your workout only works out if you recover right. Chocolate milk helps you recover for what comes next. It's delicious and contains the right mix of protein and carbs to help refuel exhausted muscles. From biking to bench presses, Milk's protein helps you build lean muscle and gain more from your workouts.
Ready? Recover. Repeat. Brought to you by the American Dairy Association Mideast, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Around here, it's all-wheel drive all year round, and Toyota has more all-wheel drive choices than anyone. Now through March 2nd, get 4.99 APR financing on a new 26 Corolla or Corolla Hybrid, excludes GR and Corolla Cross, or lease a new gas-powered Corolla LE for $199 a month for 39 months with $36.99 due at signing, with approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details, or go to toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Forever starts with the perfect diamond. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar, and for over 78 years, our family has helped generations of couples celebrate love with brilliance, quality, and unbeatable prices. At Diamond Cellar, bigger diamonds and better prices are our promise to you. Whether you're popping the question or upgrading your sparkle, trust the experts. Because diamonds, they're our forte. Visit us at Diamond Cellar on Sawmill Road or at Easton Town Center and learn more at diamondcellar.com.
Always and forever your home of the Buckeyes. Home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. Now back to the Jake Diebler Show, presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network. Presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
The Roosters Foundation helps raise over $1 million each year for local charities and organizations and is the official wing sponsor of your Ohio State Buckeyes. The Roosters Foundation is donating $25 for every foul shot the Buckeyes make at home this season to the Down Syndrome Association of Central Ohio, providing support and opportunities to families and individuals living with Down syndrome. And welcome back to our show this week. Jake, you were talking about the press and everything. Ask about Taysom Chapman, and Saturday was really the first time we've had a chance to see him with extended ball handling responsibilities, and it looked like it wasn't foreign to him.
No, he's a talented player who's played with the ball in his hands for his entire life, and he's got really good feel. I think sometimes he settles, which is something we're working on, but he has an ability to read the game. Mm-hmm. And the pace that he plays at, I think, allows him to do that at a high level. So we had great confidence in him handling the ball, and we put it in his hands to bring the ball to kind of so it wasn't Bruce every time, right? And I thought Taysom handled that well.
Coach, one of the things that can be teaching moments, right? Here's a young man that was not necessarily playing major minutes or some games that he didn't get into. And I know that you do something in practice. Coach Banks does something in the workout room that guys who are not getting minutes, they get extra reps just to prepare them to when you may need them. So just explain what goes into planning for that for the guys who don't get the regular minutes like the starters.
Well, we talk about staying ready. And, I think for us, and especially the way this team has developed, our bench has evolved as the season's gone on. And there's been competition within that to help, build and impact winning. And, so I have individual conversations with everybody. We have a plan regarding, staying ready. Like, you don't know when it could change for you individually. You owe it to the team in this program to stay ready. Here's how you do it. And honestly, Ron, that the hard part is more staying ready mentally than it is physically. Like, we can do things to help guys stay ready physically, but the mental part is a real challenge. And that's where I've been really impressed with Taysom's growth, where I think he's getting to a different place with how he's approaching things, the consistencies he's operating with, and I think he's just in a really good, confident space mentally. We got to remember he's gone through a lot, in the last 3 years, and so there's some things that we identified early on this season that he had to get better at to help us. And to his credit, he's taken that seriously, and he's worked, and he's done it. It took some time to get there, but once he started doing those things, he's always been talented offensively, and I like that he's aggressive. That's the one thing he's going to come in and he's going to be aggressive. There was a stretch where he wasn't, and I told him, I said, listen, man, I don't know how long you're going to play this game, but when you're in there, you got to be aggressive. You got to be aggressive. And once he finally started doing that, we could, it just built more trust as he was doing some of those other things. And to his credit, he's earned the opportunity that he got against Virginia. He's earned the opportunity he's got here, recently. And I think he's going to be a really important piece, for us down the stretch.
How about Amari Bonham with what he showed you Saturday and what he has shown over the course of his whole freshman season, Jake?
Impressive. His activity, the confidence that he played with was great. In a big-time game, to see a young player like that step up, considering you're down a guy, I thought he got the message and the memo of like, hey, I gotta do a little bit more, and he did. He and I've talked every day just about the consistency required and what being aggressive looks like. Like, I think at times he's not aggressive enough. So he was against Virginia, and I loved it, and he's got to continue to do that. But what was also good to see, because it's something we've talked a lot about, watched and worked on, was getting active on the glass, and he had some big-time rebounds, like big-time traffic, just go make a play rebounds. He hasn't always done that, at that level that he did last game, but it was great to see, and that's going to be important for us here next game as well.
Coach, knowing that you're not going to have John Mobley for maybe the next couple games or so, one of the things I have noticed, obviously Christoph Tilley's a very capable passer, but at times Devin Royal has shown that he can be a good passer as well. You add the fact that he's got the height and then the touch and the willingness to do it. What are some of the things that you can do to kind of implement more of them being involved and being a facilitator, especially since you don't have John Mobley Jr.?
Yeah, I think, our best, when we're our best offensively, the ball's moving. We talk a lot about ball and body movement. We've been able to thrive offensively at times. Our efficiency is really good, and we've been able to thrive offensively at times because we have multiple playmakers on the court. And I think that's important. Obviously, Junie is one of our best playmakers. So, yes, we need some guys to step up in that area. Tilley's got a capable playmaker. Devin's shown great improvement in that area. I think Amari has even shown some moments, and Tayson certainly can do it. And, Gabe has been more aggressive when he's been in, and that's helped with playmaking. So it's a collective thing for us. But, I think Devin has shown an improvement. Passing, we trust him as a passer. The ball's in his hands a lot when we take the ball out of bounds, because he's shown over, really his career an ability to make good decisions in that moment. Go back to the Michigan State game, 2 years ago, like when he was the inbounder. So, yeah, there's a lot of really, really good positive things that he's done past. But he's got to continue to tighten his handle, and I think just be mindful of the crowds he's getting into. But he can play make for us. There's no doubt.
Is that where angles come into play?
Yeah. I mean, he's a physical downhill player when he attacks. I think at times just identifying where that help is coming from and processing that a little bit quicker is important. But, I think for the most part he's done a good job. I know Virginia wasn't his best in that regard, got caught in traffic a little bit, but I trust him, got belief in him, in regards to being able to read those situations well.
Down the stretch, Coach, going back to some of the empty possessions and your philosophy, I know there was the situation down by 3, and Bruce Thornton, he got his shot blocked. It was about 17 seconds. He elected to shoot the 2 versus shooting the 3. What goes into that and making that decision to go for the 2 versus going for the 3?
Yeah, well, I think you want to have an option, with the amount of time that was left. Like you're setting up action to give you a good look from 3, but the amount of time was left, a good 2 is a great play. Right. That wasn't a good 2 to get a jump shot blocked, right? That's not a good enough 2 to take in that moment. So something we've talked about, right? It like you go back and you review that after the game. I think when that clock starts to wind down a little bit more, you got to be even more aggressive from 3, obviously. But at that point in time, we would have taken a 2. We didn't have to settle for that 2. In that moment, because there was plenty of time left that even if we scored 2 5 seconds later, we're still going to have 11 12 seconds. We can get a trap. Like, that was nothing we didn't execute. We had them set up. We were specifically supposed to get a trap and then foul out of the trap if we couldn't get a tie up or a deflection, and we didn't execute that part well enough. So there was plenty of time if we get a 2 at the rim, right? Or if you have an open mid-range, I think you could take it in that moment, but we want to get something at the rim, maybe get to the free throw line if we're going to shoot a 2 in that moment.
Yeah, I'm trying to get this right, Coach. I know you know it to every second down the stretch, but was that the trap that involved Devin Royal and Amari Bynum? In fact, I believe Devin got his 5th.
Yeah.
So if you're going to foul, it should have been Amari fouling instead of Devin, and plus you didn't get the trap you wanted as well.
Yeah, well, we actually, the way that play unfolded, we had them right where we wanted them. Their outlets were on the other side of the floor and moving towards, and we were really matched up well to potentially turn them over. And so we had it right where we wanted it. We didn't execute the trap well enough. And, yeah, certainly if in that circumstance, if we were fouling right away and not worried so much about the trap, right, because maybe there's 5 seconds or 4 seconds, right, then we would prefer the guy not foul out. But sometimes at the end of the game, time is even more important than fouls.
We'll talk more with Coach Diebler when we continue with our show presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Buckeye fans, choose chill. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. It's got that crisp, refreshing taste that makes those moments when you choose to rise above the noise and choose chill even better. Coors Light is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, so crack one open and take a sip. Coors Light, choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2025 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado, beer.
Hey, Ohio State fans, are you looking to score big with your home equity? Union Home Mortgage will help you unlock the value of your home and fund the promises you've made to yourself and your family. If you need to pay off debt, have home improvements, or whatever your family needs are, visit UHM.com and score financial freedom with Union Home Mortgage, the official home lending sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Union Home Mortgage Corp. is an equal housing opportunity lender and MLS number 2229.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the court. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
AgPro has been family-owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
Enjoy more ways to save at Kroger, like low prices in every aisle. And when you download the Kroger app, you can clip and save more with digital coupons every week. Plus, you can earn fuel points to save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you can enjoy more ways to save and more rewards every time you shop. So it's always easy to save big every day with savings and rewards. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Fuel restrictions apply. See site for details.
When you're here, you understand what it means to be a Buckeye. And at Elk & Elk, we're proud to wear scarlet and gray every Saturday. Every client, every day, means if you're ever injured, we're proud to stand with you in court. And when you're here at the shoe, we're proud to stand with you and cheer on the Buckeyes.
Whether we're here at the big game or in court, we are committed to you.
Elk & Elk, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Your home for Buckeye basketball. This is the Jake Diebler Show, presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network. Presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Union Home Mortgage is the official home lending sponsor of the Ohio State Athletics. Learn about their 1% down payment program at UHM.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS number 2229. Welcome back to our show this week. We'll go back to our Union Home Mortgage inbox list of questions. Dan in Columbus. Oh, this is a This is a beaut. Sure, it's hard for them to keep track as they're working a game, but there are officials that are aware when there is a big difference in the number of fouls called and free throw attempts between each team.
I'm gonna work on my passing right now.
All right.
And I'm gonna throw this to Ron because I think it's just better for everybody if he answers that.
Understand
than I do.
Yeah, obviously one of the things that you got to do as a player is adjust to how the officials are calling the game. The biggest thing that any coach and any player wants is consistency, because you can adjust to that, right? Like if you're calling it tight, that means I can't be as aggressive. But if it's not consistent, it's really challenging to keep your emotions or whatever. But the thing I want to ask, Coach, is like,
well, hold on. Let's point out for those listening who maybe weren't aware of it. Virginia 22 for 32 at the free throw line. Ohio State 6 for 9.
Yeah, so that's
the question.
Yeah, so they took 32 while the Buckeyes only took 9. And one of the things you mentioned after the game, Coach, it's one thing if you're taking a bunch of threes. That means you're not going to the basket, but your team only took 14. So in watching the game, I thought there was contact. But specifically, I wanted to ask about the charge play or not. They called a block on, I believe it was Gabe Cupps. Help me with the rules. You can't challenge a play call. But in terms of, what about a rule where you can challenge whether your feet are outside the restricted circle or not?
Yes. So we had this come up against Northwestern. And I tried to challenge a block charge call. The only way you can challenge it is if it's this is the way it was explained to me, is if it's a restricted access call. Mm-hmm. That was not a restricted access call.
So they're saying he was out.
They're saying he was out and he was moving. So if it was in the signal as the ref points down, if he points down, that can be called and challenged. Like they called a foul on Bruce when he was in the restricted area. And he pointed to the ground. That in that moment, I could have challenged that one. That was earlier in the second half, I believe.
Right, I remember that play. But Coach, when it relates to Gabe Cupps, first of all, he wasn't moving. I watched it very clearly. He wasn't moving. He got out. He got in a great. That's one of the things he does very well. But during the broadcast, even if you're in a restricted circle, you still can play defense.
You can. You need to leave your feet, right? Like that's kind of the rule. You got to leave the ground. But yeah, that one, what I couldn't have challenged the one with Gabe because the ref didn't indicate a restricted access call. In regards, I think like there's this misconception, right? And as a coach, you don't expect, you don't look at the sheet, out of time in timeouts or at the end of the game and say like, man, the free throw's got to be even or right next to even. There's a way the game is played that influences, and everybody's offense is designed differently. We're a team that attacks the paint. We're a team that has been good at getting to the free throw line. Mm-hmm. And this was a game where we were doing that well, and we were doing it with consistency. And so if we would have shot, 25, 33s, there's maybe not much of an argument. It was not that type of offensive attack for us this game. And I think that's where some of the frustration, was felt was, if kind of the rules of the game are established a certain way, there's just all you're expecting at that point is a consistency. And, back to Ron to add anything else to that.
So as a coach, you want to push the envelope and make your point, but not necessarily. Some coaches want to get a technical for a number of reasons, but you are giving the team, the opposition, the chance to put points on the board without defense. So what goes in that balance, and like how far do you push it, knowing that you could get a technical, but you want to make sure the official understands that, hey, your subjectivity isn't where it needs to be.
Yeah, listen, I think there's time and score elements to that that are really important. You want to fight for your team. I don't want our guys worried about official. I tell them all the time, like, I'll fight for you. You move on to the next play. Mm-hmm. And, whether it was live when guys are running past me or whether it was out of some timeouts as the game went on, there was dialogue, right? Like, and sometimes it was more passionate than others. But I think there's things you can do to get a technical, right? Like you can say some things that can cross the line, and it's not really, that's not my style. Is to, like, I'm not out there trying to disrespect people, right? I just, you want the game called a certain way, or just you want it consistent. And I didn't think, especially as possessions were becoming so important, in the last 5-7 minutes of the game, we can't afford to give one away. Kind of uniquely, the one technical I've gotten feels like my entire life. That guy was on our game against Virginia too, and I think so. At least you got one guy out there. Like there's certain things you can't do, and I think the reality is the technical I earned because I got on the court. Doesn't mean I was wrong, but I earned. It should have been a technical, and I was right. He got fouled. So you live and learn in those circumstances. But I think it's important to treat people with respect, but stick up for your team at a high level. And listen, time and score matters a great deal when it comes time, and I think you got to have great poise as a coach to not cost your team. Right. In those moments, we've seen you see it all the time. Yeah. You can cost your team in those moments if you go across that line.
We'll talk more with Coach Diebler when we continue with our show, presented each week by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite repair, Safelite replace.
When it comes to your cancer diagnosis, the choice for your care is clear.
And when you choose the James at Ohio State,
you're opting for care from a highly specialized team dedicated to treating one type of cancer, yours.
A team that studies the unique makeup of your disease to develop a personalized treatment plan.
You're choosing our region's only comprehensive cancer center designated by the National Cancer Institute.
For your cancer care, the choice is clear. The James at Ohio State.
Hey, Buckeye fans, are you thinking of consolidating your debt with a home equity loan? Union Home Mortgage wants you to know the average homeowner has over $200,000 of home equity available, and they can help you get access to your money quickly and easily. Go to UHM.com to get your cash estimate today. You'll score financial freedom with Union Home Mortgage, the official home lending sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Union Home Mortgage Corp is an equal housing opportunity lender. NMLS number 2229.
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams, the agile get it done teams, the achieve more together teams, and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
Learn more about Ohio State at osu.edu/impact.
Midwest Cards is pumped to present the Ohio State Trading Card Night with Buckeye legend Evan Turner before the Ohio State versus Wisconsin game on Tuesday, February 17th. We will have games, card giveaways, and you can meet Evan Turner in person. Plus, snag a limited edition Evan Turner card with your ticket. There will be a few special guests from Ohio State football. It all kicks off at 5:30. Then stick around to cheer on the Buckeyes. Visit go.osu.edu/Trading Card Night 26 for more details.
Around here, it's all-wheel drive all year round, and Toyota has more all-wheel drive choices than anyone, like the best-selling Camry. Now through March 2nd, get 4.99 APR financing on a new 26 Camry, or lease a new Camry LE for just $279 a month for 39 months with $36.99 due at signing, with approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details, or go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Buckeye football lives here. The Fan. You're listening to the Jake Diebler Show, presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network. Presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State athletics.
Buckeyes are known for paying it forward. That's why Buckeyes Care strives to serve the betterment of our community by positively impacting families across Ohio. Joint partners American Electric Power, Kroger, Donato's, the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the James Cancer Hospital, Huntington Bank, and WBNS-TV in Columbus, and supporting this cause at ohiostatebuckeyes.com/Buckeyes Care. And welcome back to our show with Ohio State coach Jake Diebler. Buckeyes are at home tomorrow night with Wisconsin. That's an 8:30 tip here at the Schottenstein Center. Matt in Dayton with the next of our Union Home Mortgage Inbox questions. What are some of the things that you know your team will need to do a better job of tomorrow night than they did in the first game against Wisconsin?
Yeah, we got to guard the ball, and we got to do a better job of taking away the 3-point line. We didn't do good enough in that in the first half. You remember they had a guy come off the bench and hit a bunch of threes, but I think they're so dynamic in transition with their guard play that taking care of the ball as part of your transition defense, making sure that we keep the ball out of the paint early in possessions is going to be really important against them. We didn't do that well enough in the second half. But, yeah, listen, Wisconsin does, there's some things that they do that you can anticipate, every single game. And, they are who they are, and I think we got to do a better job of taking them out of some of their be a little more disruptive this time around.
Coach, when you talk about that defending the perimeter, Austin Rapp is the one guy. He was 7 for 8 from the field, 5 of 6 from beyond the arc. I believe we asked this question after the game, but when you go into the ball game and you have 2 or 3 guys are at the top of the scouting report, you have a player that's maybe not doing as well from out there, then that person gets hot. What goes into changing the mindset now from your initial strategy?
Well, I think you gotta be ready to make adjustments, right? Like every once in a while, you come across a situation where a guy plays at does some things they haven't shown or shown an ability to. Now he's shown an ability to make shots. Now he wasn't shooting it great leading into that game, but he had shown the ability to make shots. So it wasn't like
28%.
It was, I know, but there was some volume to it, and it wasn't like we were saying, hey, we're just going to let him shoot, right? What we had to evaluate, is why did he get as open as he did, and then once a player makes a couple, you have to treat them and adjust your scouting report for that specific player, and sometimes what happens when you see a player see the ball go through a couple times, and now all of a sudden they make hard shots. Yep. Right, and that's the part that I think is tough, why you don't want to let a player get going, really any player. So you can't, you just got to be willing to adjust on the fly. Our guys have done a good job with that. We obviously, he didn't get going, didn't really score the second half, I think.
No, he had all in the first half.
But, we couldn't also, you can't completely change your game plan, because especially if it's a guy, when you got some of the caliber of perimeter players that they have, if you just change your entire game plan, well, now it creates more space for other guys. So there's a lot of complexities to it, but you can't be stubborn either and just say, like, nope, we're going to let this guy make 5, 6, 7, 3. You can't do that. There's too many good players in college basketball now.
We were talking last segment about foul shooting and fouls and things like that. I want to go back to the USC game and just the mental approach that your team took with the way that they went up there and 14 for 14 in the second half, 24 for 25 in a game. That doesn't happen by accident.
Well, I think, listen, we work on free throw shooting every single day, and we work on it during practice. We practice with a great deal of urgency. We're practicing hard. We're like all that stuff. So we'll stop segments of practice and go straight to the free throw line and simulate free throws while you're tired. And I think that's important to do. And we have good free throw shooters too. I think, like, make no mistake about it, personnel matters in those things. And, especially that USC game, you get a free throw shooter like Bruce Thornton getting to the line, 11 times. I mean, that's a great thing for your overall free throw percentage for that game. So, and he's been good at getting to the line. I think that's some of the frustration of the Virginia game is, you get to a line like that one game, and then now next game, I don't think he played a whole lot different. But I think we got multiple guys. I think, consistency's been a problem for a couple guys at the line, but we're seeing improvement in that area. And we're a good free throw shooting team. I really believe that and got confidence in our guys here down the stretch.
Coach, at the beginning of each year, you always have goals, and here you are late in the year. There's obviously a need to be focused for the next game, which is Wisconsin tomorrow. Is there ever any conversation about the NCAA? Do you even bring that up to say, hey, we need to take care of this and whatever, or do you just for one game at a time, or do you ever talk about that?
Yeah, well, we talk about it before the season. We talk about what our goals are, and for me, it goes back to what we're fighting to get this program back to. But I want our guys, the best way to do it is to focus on playing as well as we possibly can against Wisconsin, and so that's the focus of our team. But part of this is playing in big-time, meaningful games this time of year, and we've positioned ourselves to do that. We've taken steps forward. We've been dealt some adversity here at not the ideal time, but that doesn't change the mission. It doesn't change the focus. Our focus is making sure we are ready. We have a great plan to play as well as we can against Wisconsin.
Sounds good. We'll see you here tomorrow night for that. Thanks as always, Jake.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
That is Ohio State head coach Jake Diebler, and thanks for listening to today's show, presented by Roosters and brought to you statewide by Encova Insurance and by the American Dairy Association Mideast. Join us tomorrow night as Ohio State hosts the Badgers. Our pregame coverage starts at 7:45 p.m. For Skip Mossick, Cole Bartimas, Ron Stokes, and Coach Jake Diebler, this is Paul Keels. Thanks for listening to the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physician for Ohio State athletics.